Hey, so good day, guys. So today we are going to be discussing this lecture of prokaryotic cells. So prokaryotic cells, the name karyotic means the nucleus. Pro means before. So when we say prokaryotic cells, we say before the nucleus. So these are the cells which normally we don't find the nucleus on them. So this is an example of a prokaryotic cells. You can see that there's no the nucleus. Even the DNA there, you can see the nucleoid there. The DNA is just there as a form of an aggregation, a form of a plasmid there. So these are the Asian cells. When we say Asian cell, we are saying that during the evolution of animals, so these cells have to uh, to evolve. So these are the first cells that they are associated with ancient organisms. So they don't have a nucleus. These are their characteristics. They don't have a nucleus. That's why they are called the prokaryotic cells. So the DNA is not contained within a membrane. So does not have those organelles per se. I clearly know that in normal cells that you know, which are called eukaryotic cells, the DNA is inside what called a nucleus, a nucleolus. So a grayish, bluish organelle inside the nucleus. So this one, that like the DNA is not even separated from the rest of the cells. We can see the nucleoid there. So but it's coiled in a region called the nucleoid. So they have a region called the nucleus. No other membrane bound organelles. There are no organelles in prokaryotic cells. There are no subcellular structures. When I can just compare them in what you call eukaryotes, you will find the mitochondria, you will find the cytoplasm, chloroplast, which are inside what they are organelles. They are membrane bound. But in these prokaryotic cells, there are no such. Organisms consisting such cells are called prokaryotes. So prokaryotes, these are organisms which does they contain these prokaryotic cells. So in other ways, they don't have a nucleus, and they don't have membrane bound. They don't have organs bound organelles. Uh, so the word pro means before, caron means a nut or a kernel, which is a nucleus. So example of these prokaryotic organisms, we have bacteria and we have archaea. So these are examples of. So these are examples of these prokaryotic cells organisms. So they are unicellular. They are also unicellular organisms. So let us just go through through some description of these features of the prokaryotic cells. They have the capsule. Look at that diagram there. The capsule found in some bacterial cells protect the cell when it is engulfed by other organisms. When these cells are engulfed by or eaten by other organisms, there are other chemicals that are contained in the capsule, which are going to help protect the organism. I'm sorry for the background noise which is happening. It is the what called the cell wall. That cell wall is called peptidoglycan. They have what called the peptidoglycan, like the bacteria, and it can be gram positive or it can be gram negative. You are going to learn this when you go through levels of biology. That there is other layer called the outer membrane layer protecting that. So the cell wall is an outer covering, protect the cell and give it a shape, just like the cell wall that we know of plants, which are eukaryotic cells. So that part is the cell and plasma membrane. So the cell or plasma membrane, they regulates the flow of substances in and out of the what in and out of the cell. So this the cell membrane. It has some special features which will allow substances to get in and out of the cell. So the cytoplasm is a gel-like substance composed mainly of water and contains enzymes, salts, cell components, and other various organic molecules inside it. This is the cytoplasm. So the other features is the pili and the flagellum. So the pili is the hair-like structures on the surface of the cell. go and find the function of the pili. And the flagellum, this is a long. Actually, it's the flagellum is longer than the pili. So what I was saying, that the flagellum is long, is a whip-like projection that aids in what it aids in the locomotion. So we are going to look at other parts. We have the ribosomes. Uh, I'm sorry, this computer is so like the ribosomes, they contain the coding, they going to deal with the coding structures and all these kind of things. So we have also have the nucleoid region. This the area of the cytoplasm that contains the single bacterium DNA molecule, because these are cells, they need to replicate. So replication, you need the DNA, so that other characteristics of them that have been passed from other other offsprings which are made. So the plasmids, these are gene carrying secular DNA structures. So they carry what the DNA structures, and that are involved in the reproduction. So these are the summary of these prokaryotic cells. Like no, they are from the domain archaea and the domain bacteria. Yeah. So as you know that cells are from, like animals are from a single cells. So we share an ancestor. So in Bio 112, we're going to talk about us sharing a common ancestor. Before we can become the sporiferous cyanidarians and also these platyhelminthics. So we come from a second, from a same universal ancestor. Thank you for the lecture. But just to go through the five branches, these are the five branches which are talking about. Like when you talk about plantae, animalia, fungi, and protista, and archaea, because now they've also included eubacteria here, but in the one that we're going to learn in Bio 112 is different from this one. So this is what I wanted to say to you, that you can see that prokaryotes are in those levels which are ancient animals, the first organisms to exist. Yeah. So prokaryotes are in the domains of bacteria and archaea, as I said. So this will be the end of the lecture.